I'm going to say this, and I hope they don't forget, and that is pay now or pay much more later. When you bring on that franchisee that I don't think they're the right fit, they're not the right fit, don't bring them on. I promise you listen to your gut, because you will pay like 10x to getting them out of the system.
Correct. It's the same with the red flags in dating. If there's too many red flags, do not go out on a second date.
Right. Well, how about to relate to that, when a potential franchisee comes into a discovery day, it's like a date. They put their best foot forward. This is as good as it's ever going to get. It's only downhill from there. And maybe not totally downhill, but they want to make the best impression, right?
It's like a job interview. You want
It is totally a job interview.
To start well and to present yourself in the best light possible. And if you see that they don't really care for that meeting, or they didn't prepare, or they didn't do their due diligence, or they didn't do their homework, if you ask them to prepare something or a business plan or whatever your process is, if they didn't put in the work, do you really want to be in a relationship with such a person for this long? Because usually the franchise agreement lasts for at least 10 years, right?
Right.
So do you want to have someone in your house for this long? Do you want to entrust your brand to someone like that? I wouldn't.
Well, number one, they're not going to validate well to other potential franchisees. And number two, good luck trying to sell a franchise anywhere remotely near them, because if they're not doing a good enough job, they're certainly not going to be a great brand ambassador. Nobody's going to want a franchise around them.
Correct. And getting them out is going to cost you a lot. You said it yourself.
Yeah. Let's talk about maybe examples of your book where, you've highlighted maybe a successful implementation of some of these marketing strategies. You don't have to name any particular franchisor, but can you share maybe a case study or maybe a success story that where you've implemented this?
Sure. So we're global. We have presence in 55 countries, and a big majority of our clients come from Central America, the US, all over Europe, Australia as well. So this is a case study with an Australian client a few years ago. They had about 23 locations back then. Mm-hmm. And when we started working with them, their Google My Business and listings were all over the place. Nobody was maintaining them. Nobody was looking after the reviews. And we know that an unhappy client is 10 times more likely to complain and leave a negative review than a happy one to leave a positive review. So the average score of their listings was very average. Under 3 stars. There was information all over the web with like old phone numbers, and it was just a very messy case, and they were struggling. Mm-hmm. They were struggling. And when they started working with us, they trialed our services with one location. That was the CEO's location. We didn't know that back then. Oh, wow. It was a secret. But then once they've seen that in 3 months' time, we managed to bring about 350% increase in the number of leads that came into that location, phone calls, driving directions, and inquiries from the website. They were like, wow, this really makes a difference. What we did was we took ownership of the listing. We cleaned up all the information online. We registered the business in a lot of local directories. Mm-hmm. We created this immaculate profile in Google My Business. We made sure that the business ranks for every single keyword for the area that it was in. So if someone searches for their service, any of the products that they offer with the area, they were ranking on page 1 in the top 3 results under the map. So that generated a lot of phone calls and driving directions and footfall to the business. Once they've seen that growth for one location, they signed up the whole network. 10 years later, we still work with them. Just because they know how much this means for them. It completely turned the business. They now have 37 locations and they continue to grow. But local marketing and Google My Business is the one thing that every single franchisor, mm-hmm. should take on and manage from the head office for their franchisees, because this is free. Google provides that for free for every local business, and also it brings the lowest cost per lead and cost per acquisition for new customers. So before you even spend a penny or $1 on ads on Facebook, Google, or whatever, make sure that your Google My Business listing ranks on page 1 for all the keywords that a potential customer might search you for. and that would be a game changer.
That is brilliant. So maybe we need to go back to basics. I'm thinking about the audience. A lot of people might not understand what Google My Business is, and they're just thinking, okay, so Danny's company has, they crank up my budget here on Google paid ads, and that's really not what this is. So maybe you can talk about that misconception.
Sure. So Google My Business is the old name of Google Business Profiles. They renamed it recently. And what that is Google gives you the opportunity to create a listing completely free of charge for your business if your business is a local business associated with an area, service area, or you have a physical location somewhere. And if you type in, for example, hairdresser in Miami, based on your GPS signal, whether you're typing this in your iPhone or on your iPad or computer, it picks up on where you are when you're making that search, and it gives you the local providers or local vendors. So it will show you all the nearby hairdressers from the location you are. And this is Google My Business. This is Google Maps searches.
Now that's on the franchisee side, right, of local businesses. Let's shift gears now to on the franchisor side of attracting high quality franchisee leads. What strategies do you recommend for emerging franchisors?
So after you really know what you're selling and you form the franchise package and how you stand out from your competitors, we always recommend making sure that you're present in more than just one places or spaces online. Of course, you should have your own franchise page about the franchise opportunity. However, in marketing, we have this concept that a user or a person has to interact or see a brand 5 to 7 times before they decide to engage with it, which means that they need to see 5 to 7 times your brand, especially if you're an emerging brand and they don't know you and they never heard about you, before they even make an inquiry. So what does this mean in practice? So they might see a Facebook ad, which is fine, but they're not going to right away make an inquiry. You can plant the seed about the franchise opportunity. You can introduce the business and the brand on Facebook, and they'll see the ad. They might even click on it and come to your website, but they will probably not make an inquiry because they don't know who you are. But you've planted the seed. Then through remarketing, they can see that ad or that banner following them on third-party websites, almost like that pair of shoes that I didn't buy that keeps coming back to me.
Right.
And then if they decide to really look for a franchise opportunity, where they're going to go, they're not going to go back to Facebook and search for you. They'll probably go on to Google and search for the type of franchise that you are, or they're going to just search for franchise opportunities in that state they are. So it's important for you to be on there with your own website, but also to be present in third-party websites such as franchise directories. When someone with high purchase intent who's already decided that they want to invest in buying a business go on a third-party directory website and they see your brand there for another second, third time, fourth time, that only shows more credibility and authority and shows that you are investing in your own brand and you are a credible brand. You're out there. You're vetted, so to speak. So being present in as many as possible of those franchise portals is also helpful. It might just help for credibility, and they might still convert on your own franchising website. They might come to the website and still send you an inquiry and request a more info pack from your website, but making sure that they've seen the brand 5 to 7 times before they download a brochure, before they request an information pack is important.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.